The Namib, a land of extremes. The oldest desert on Earth. It is one of the most inhospitable environments on the planet. Relentless trade winds blow sand high into the atmosphere and drive the massive sand dunes inland. The region's first inhabitants called it the land that God made in anger. Portuguese sailors nicknamed it the Gates of Hell. The sun-bleached skeletons of dead animals and the rusting remains of countless shipwrecks are a testament to its harshness. Survival here is a talent. Only the strongest and the best adapted are capable of it. But while this inhospitable environment destroys all that is weak and vulnerable, it can also reveal perfect purity, if you know how to find it. Over 10,000 people have reached the summit of Mount Everest. Thousands have cycled around the world, but no one has ever cycled the length of Namibia's skeleton coast.
Well, this just has to be one of the most isolated and desolate places on Earth.
Explorer Kate Leeming is on a mission to be the first to complete the journey in an unbroken line.
And I can't wait to explore this remote corner of our planet.
Kate is no stranger to extreme expeditions. She has cycled across Siberia, the breadth of the African continent, and through the Arctic regions. Kate's route traces Namibia's entire Atlantic coastline. Starting from the Kunene River in the north, she will cycle through the Forbidden Lands, along windswept beaches, and over the high dunes of the Namib Sand Sea to reach her destination in the south, the Orange River.
This whole thing is a test of the mind. Quite incredible. There's bones everywhere. No wonder it's called the Skeleton Coast.
From remote and punishing terrain.
Skeleton Coast will take me too.
I'm suddenly feeling a bit nervous.
A harsh and hampering climate.
Everything's just corroded away. Just turns iron to dust. Skeleton Coast certainly takes no prisoners.
From facing some of the continent's deadliest wildlife.
Lion footprint.
To experiencing the raw majesty of the desert.
You're not that fit, you won't survive.
Life here is really not easy.
This ambitious 1,000-mile journey down the spine of the Skeleton Coast will push Kate's mind and body beyond anything she has ever experienced before.
My body, my legs especially, more and more tired. It's all about energy management. I first started cycling as my way of seeing Europe. It's really where I found my passion. You're very connected with the people in the land, and I find that it gives a great sense of place and a perspective of how the world fits together. So I've cycled on every single continent on Earth, apart from Antarctica. So I've done 15,000 kilometers through Europe. It was just when the Soviet Union was collapsing, and Russia, the largest country in the world, was opening up. And I thought, what an amazing idea it would be to cycle across it. In the east, there was 1,500 kilometers of swamp, so I had to navigate by following the railway line. It took me 5 months to cycle the breadth of Russia and become the first woman to cycle across Siberia. I've done a 25,000 kilometer journey through Australia, 7,000 k's actually off-road on remote tracks. I've done 22,000 kilometers through 20 countries across Africa. 4 polar expeditions in the Arctic, in Svalbard, which is in Norway, northeast Greenland, done Arctic Canada and Iceland. I've cycled down the Baja Divide in Mexico, the Finke River in Australia. I've done Ladakh, which is the Indian Himalaya. I think that's about it, actually. The Skeleton Coast expedition is going to be the first expedition down Namibia's entire coastline, from the mouth of the Kunene River in the north, which is on Angola's border, to the mouth of the Orange River in the south, which is on South Africa's border. Basically, it's off-road. It's never been done before. It's just going to be cycling along the beach into the wind. There's going to be sand dunes dropping off to the sea. So it's going to be a real challenge. No one's ever done this. We don't even know exactly how far it is because no one's really driven it in its entirety. But we think the Skeleton Coast is about 1,600 kilometres. I've allowed 36 days. There's a few extra contingency days, but I've really got to do 50 kilometres a day. So the bike I'm going to be using is a Kunene all-wheel drive, custom-made fat bike. When the back wheel slips, the front wheel grabs. Extra traction, really important in the sand. I think it's going to really help me, especially when it gets to the very loose sand dunes. The route's going to be very, very challenging. In the north, it's just wild, like open sand, ocean, no roads at all. That's going to be a real struggle, I think. We know that there are desert lions there, these specially adapted desert lions. Jimmy, who's been helping us, is trying to work out how we're going to get through that bit, because obviously I don't want to be taken by a lion. And then the final part, it's a forbidden diamond mining area, and it's been closed for more than 100 years. It's 300 kilometres, and I'm working really hard to try and get support to get through the Spurgebiet. So mentally, this journey is going to be as tough as it gets. If we pull this off, it's going to be amazing. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the challenge.
Her expedition down the Skeleton Coast will test body and bike to the absolute limit. Riding 32 miles a day on soft sand with a fat bike is a cyclist's marathon, and Kate has to do it for 8 hours, day after day.
I'm getting very excited. We're off tomorrow, but my least favourite job is packing the bike because it's so fiddly. You know, these are huge tyres, and we've got to fit them into this special case. One of my biggest things I'm most nervous about is the bike getting damaged on the journey. We won't get to Namibia if we don't get this tyre in. Done. Easy. There we have. Bike ready to go.
Upon arrival, Kate is united with her team. Desert specialists, Elago and Thomas. The team is heading north on a rough 600-mile drive to the mouth of the Kunene River, passing through Namibia's dry hinterland, home to the desert elephant and several of Namibia's ethnic groups. Namibia is one of the least densely populated countries in the world, and the expedition team is traveling to the country's most far-flung corner. The team must travel in 2 separate vehicles in case one has mechanical issues, and it soon becomes apparent why this is a good plan. This is not the start to the journey Kate had hoped for. In the meantime, some locals verse Kate in traditional Himba culture.
Moro,
We can go.
As the team reaches Puros community, Kate seeks permission to travel across their territory. Permission granted, and the team gets a traditional send-off by the Herero women. Whilst for the traveller Namibia's glory lies in the beauty of its nature, for some, this land has been a rich ground for treasure hunting.
Welcome to the Skeleton Coast. We've been driving through the desert now, past enormous sand dunes, and we found this, the remnants of an amethyst mine. This is the township that they would have lived in.
These igloo shelters are designed to repel the constant gale force winds. They were built to accommodate amethyst prospectors in this harsh environment. For millennia, this design was tested by the region's first hunter-gatherer inhabitants. The team continues north through the remote Kunene region, named after the Kunene River that forms the border with Angola. The Skeleton Coast is a protected area where access to visitors is limited. Serene and largely empty, it's one of the most isolated frontiers of Namibia.
Okay, the cars are gonna go down here, down this sand dune, into camp. Whew, yeah! This is gonna be something serious. They're gonna come down here, down that slope. Okay, here they come.
Driving down these slopes is certainly not for the faint-hearted. Namib means vast place. The 55-million-year-old desert stretches more than 1,200 miles from southern Angola, along Namibia's entire coastline, all the way to South Africa. It's the evening before the start of Kate's journey. Time for the final preparations.
If we just lower it carefully, because that's it. Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
The bike is a prototype, custom designed for Kate. The 12-centimeter wide tires give extra traction on soft surfaces.
So we're on 9 psi right now. But tomorrow I'm going to start it on about 7.
The all-wheel drive system is designed for better grip on rugged terrain. Check, check, and check again. Sleep is last on the list. It's the morning of departure, and troubling news throws the expedition into jeopardy.
I was talking to Jimmy.
Yeah?
That area from Torabe to Ugab, it's a mining area. It's owned by a company. You know, it's strictly, we're not allowed to cycle in there.
But they haven't said that we can't yet. They just might say that.
No, they say we can't. Yeah.
That's what we...
Yeah. Unfortunately, they said we can't cycle around there.
It just destroys everything. really.
The news threatens Kate's extraordinary quest to cycle the entire coast in an unbroken line. Despite the setback, she decides to start as planned and deal with obstacles one at a time. She is no stranger to facing problems head-on.
This morning I'm feeling really excited because we've been building up for this for about 6 months, but there's been all sorts of obstacles to get through, especially with getting the right permits to go through certain places. Been lots of tension, but we're here, so there's nothing much more to do other than just cycle. And yeah, I'm very, very excited.
Finally, the moment is here. It's such a relief to start the journey after months of preparation. About 1,000 miles of pedaling on sand lies ahead. Filled with anticipation, Kate is eager to bring a line on the map to life and explore this deserted yet wondrous corner of our planet. Excitement is not the only feeling that Kate is dealing with. There are doubts too. The expedition will be treacherous. There will be no roads at all for much of the way, just the coastline, teeming with wildlife and shifting sands. The forces of the ocean have conspired over countless centuries to wreck ships and beach whales. As Kate heads south on her journey, she is exposed to the elements and the unknown. The daily target is 32 miles, and Kate must hit that target day in, day out, no matter what the conditions.
33 Ks plus whatever, so probably about 36, 37 or what. I want to get to the minimum. Because we have to. We can't not do that.
Yeah, you're right, yeah.
Because even if you drop back, say if I didn't do any more today, suddenly that's another 15 I have to find from somewhere else, and then that suddenly gets hard to make up. It doesn't seem much, but this isn't normal. So.
It's only day 2 of the expedition, and Kate is facing conditions that are every cyclist's worst nightmare.
Yeah, it's worse. Much worse. The wind, well, it's just way more severe today, I'm pretty sure. So I'm just trying to turn the pedals. That's an hour and 50 minutes for 10 Ks. And I haven't stopped. Wow, so I'd have to go for 10 hours to make 50 Ks at this pace. So we just take it as it comes. This whole thing is a test of the mind. It is physical, of course, but it is about the mind. And I guess for me, out of all the different obstacles you get, the wind is probably the most demoralizing because you can't see it, you can't control it, it's not like you've got a great mountain in front of you so you can say, oh, look, I climbed that. You've just got this howling wind that's relentless. So that's something that if I can get my mind around properly and have a better attitude towards, that's going to probably get me through. So we try and do, maybe if I keep trying to do like an hour, small bits, and then just have a 2-minute break. So that's kind of helpful mentally. So.
Kate is no stranger to facing adversity. Years of expeditions cycling in the toughest conditions have taught her how to deal with difficult situations. The keys to progress are to stay on the saddle and break down big challenges. On sand, every pedal stroke requires her full focus. The terrain may appear monotonous, but up close, Kate constantly notices subtle features, and objects ahead become small goals. A rock, a piece of driftwood, or a divot in the sand. Occasionally, the objects even move.
This just has to be one of the most isolated and desolate places on Earth, I would think. The Skeleton Coast. The sea out there is just boiling away. Imagine being shipwrecked here. There would be no help anywhere. Like, where would you go? There's no water, there's no food, nothing. And that's kind of what happened right here. This is the Dunedin Star, or what's left of it.
When the Dunedin Star struck an uncharted reef just off the coast on November 1942, 63 of its passengers made the safety of the beach, only to find a land with no food or drinkable water.
We knew the Dunedin Star was at this point, but there's just nothing left of it. It was such a corrosive environment that the whole frigate has just dissolved, being sort of rusted back into nature.
The complex sea, air and land rescue that followed was a month-long operation. Ships battled the wild seas, cars sank in the soft sand, a tugboat ran out of fuel and wrecked further down the coast, and a supply plane crashed into the sea.
So this is where the survivors came, and they built this shelter. There's absolutely nothing on the coast, so some planes actually flew overhead, and they dropped some crates and some food for them to keep them going while they effected the rescue. It took about 30 days, and finally everyone was rescued. 2 people lost their lives on the tug, and it was just one of the most incredible rescues in history, I would have thought.
The Dunedin Star's demise is a haunting reminder of the dangers that constantly threaten to expose a weakness, a moment of inattention, or a poor decision. Back on the bike, but it's not long before Kate encounters a serious problem. The expedition could be all over, as Kate's principal piece of equipment may be broken.
When I was picking my way through lots of sticks and things and flotsam and jetsam, I couldn't really control my bike very well. Slipped a bit, dipped all the working parts in the sand, which wasn't great. Just loosen it as far as we can.
Okay. This is clockwise, this is anti-clockwise. So it's probably this way. Okay, have you up in here?
When I was picking my way through lots of sticks and things and flotsam and jetsam, I couldn't really control my bike very well. Slipped a bit, dipped all the working parts in the sand, which wasn't great. It's only the brake, it's not the all-wheel drive's not on. Take the brake off just about. Don't need it.
This is clockwise, this is anti-clockwise. So it's probably this way. Okay, have you up in here?
It's better, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Yeah, let's just leave it. No, it might
Yeah.
push line.
Yeah.
And then we'll go from there.
The bike is fixed temporarily, and Kate pushes on. The brakes and chain still grinding, clogged with wet, salty grit. So much of what Kate set out to achieve depends on her mental state, and the Skeleton Coast keeps surprising her with unexpected examples of natural beauty. Tens of thousands of Cape Fur seals congregate at Cape Frio, attracted to the frigid waters of the Benguela ocean current. Here, marine life thrives with little disturbance from humans. On land, seals are cumbersome movers that struggle to survive in the heat, but in the water, they are agile swimmers, and with their dense fur and layer of blubber, they are perfectly adapted to the cold. Sights like these are a constant reminder of the importance of conservation in such fragile ecosystems. The innovative all-wheel drive system is most effective on soft sand, loose stones, and steep hills, wherever extra traction is required.
All right, so this is how the all-wheel drive system works. Basically, the whole bike works as a normal bike, except we have this gear here, which drives this. Inside there's a shaft, a rod that goes all the way up to here, and drives this universal joint, and that then goes through the top tube. There's a whole lot of workings in there, but I've sealed that up so that no sand can get in. It's all full of grease. And then basically that drives this rod here, which then drives this cog.
The water from Namibia's ephemeral rivers mostly flows underground, apart from during an occasional flash flood. For the region's wildlife, these linear oases are the lifeblood of the desert. Crossing the Namib River mouth, Kate is now entering the vast home range of Namibia's desert-adapted lions. After a diversion inland, Kate heads back to the seafront. She cannot help but notice the alarming number of animal tracks in the sands, all around her.
Would you like to clean your teeth? 200 kilometres done virtually, so that's an eighth of the journey. But we don't really know exactly how far it is because no one's ever cycled it before. You know, I'm following the little bays in and out, so it could be more than 1,600, it could be less, I just don't know. So this is the universal joint of the all-wheel drive system. So what I'm doing is going to just cover that too with a bit of dry lube, just hopefully cut the oxygen out so it stops it rusting, because that wouldn't be good. I've used a fair bit already in 4 days. I have one other bottle.
Today I was feeling really vulnerable when we crossed the river. You know, I was out there alone, ahead of the vehicles, and I just didn't know. There's just that chance that there could be a lion. The team's quite nervous, and there's going to be about, I'd say about 3 more days of this. They have a vast range, and so tonight's the first night where we're sleeping, where they just could be around.
Right, see you later.
Right.
So from where I started today is probably, Alago estimates around about 80 kilometres to Mowe Bay, which is the first point of habitation.
Finally, the wind eases and the fog sets in. Kate finds she cannot wear sunglasses because the salty sea spray and the dense mist instantly cloud her vision. But without her glasses, Kate's eyes are starting to feel like sandpaper.
Starts to feel like I'm getting somewhere now. I've just clicked over 200 kilometres, which was about 1/8 of the journey. You know, these are very, very long days on the bike. I've been doing 7.5 to 8 hours a day on a bike through these kind of conditions. I am trying to pace myself, I'm not going all out all the time. But it's very hard to hold this position for that long, all the time.
But are you foreseeing a good day today as well? In terms of challenges, that's what I mean.
Well, it's a challenge. It's all a challenge because it's hard. Even if there's less wind, that's great.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's not easy. So we just take a 7.28.
Okay, great. Now I got that. I mean,
How'd you get? What'd you get?
5.8.
Bloody hell, I don't like yours sometimes.
Okay, so don't worry. Don't get discouraged by that. I mean, we're doing fine on your own. I think the 20 litango manga is called Mowe Bay.
As desert experts, Alago and Thomas are the key to survival, and ultimately the success of the expedition. Fuel consumption is accurately monitored to ensure the team reaches Mowe Bay, the first point of habitation on the journey south. Every drop of fuel in this remote environment is precious.
Back in 1979 and 1980, some farmers from southern Namibia decided they'd come and seek their fortune up here. And basically it failed. It was so remote out here that, you know, to get anything sent there was impossible. It was well more trouble than it's worth. So it's interesting just to see, it's just 40 years ago, everything's just corroded away. just turns iron to dust. Skeleton Coast certainly takes no prisoners.
Over the centuries, countless vessels have been wrecked on the shoreline of the Skeleton Coast, pulverized by the tempestuous seas and consigned to the annals of history. Only the hull of this fishing boat, the Suedicus, remains after it struck Mowe Bay's rocky headland in 1976 on its maiden voyage. A pair of rare brown hyenas act as sentinels, keeping watch as Kate enters Mowe Bay, the first point of human habitation on her journey. Kate has arranged to meet with Dr. Philip Stander, expert and conservationist for the desert-adapted lions.
Look, the adaptation to the arid environment is really quite spectacular and very interesting. It's not that they're different species, but behaviorally and even physiologically, there's major adaptation. The striking thing about them is always in good condition, which is really remarkable given the harshness of the place. But it's sort of like the fact that, you know, if you're not that fit, you won't survive. You know, it's a little bit like you on the bike, you know.
Yeah, I hope I'm still
no
fit at the end of
halfway.
it, otherwise the Skeleton Coast will take me too.
Look, an incredible development has taken place now in the last year, where the lions have started utilizing the marine food resources. And that's, you know, it's nowhere else in Africa and the world where lions do that. They kill the seals like on the beach, and then inevitably they'll drag them inland and often across the road, and it's quite spectacular, you know, the drag marks with their feet as they sort of straddle this big carcass.
There are lions just nearby. We met up with Philip Stander, and he's the preeminent lion conservationist. In fact, he's the world expert on the desert-adapted lions. And he's been tracking them. He knows where they are. There's a couple that are quite close to here, probably about 10 kilometers away. So Philip's just gone off now to find them and make sure then we're not near the lions, so that I can get my skates on and go through. It's just after 7:30 now, and it's just getting light, so it's time to go. Right, see you in Terrace Bay.
South of Mowe Bay, Kate must follow the gravel road rather than the beach so that Philip and the support team can protect her from the lions.
No entry line. Far out. I'm suddenly feeling a bit nervous. Let's go.
Okay, Tommy will squeeze himself around that side.
Okay, we'll come.
Yeah.
As ultimate hunters, lions are so well camouflaged in their natural environment. Kate is fearful the team may not spot one until it is too late.
So we're just about to cross the Swadip, and this is where there's a lot of bushes, and obviously animals, it's like an oasis because there's water there, and so lots of animals, including potentially the lions. So for this section, Elago wants me to ride between the two vehicles just so that no animals can see that I'm here in between.
Let's get to the water.
Right.
Okay.
Don't get that very often, do you? Lion footprint.
Lions have got 3 pads.
Yeah.
Like this. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
And the palm. 1, 2, 3.
Uh-huh.
So this is it.
1, 2, 3 pads.
Yeah.
Jeepers. I was going.
If you see him on the road or coming from the road. The two cars goes and block up.
Like a V shape.
Yeah, yeah. And you get into one of them.
Definitely been dragging a seal or something, huh?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, wow. Well, the good thing about that is they've eaten today. So.
So, we are right there now, and this is this little reed patch ahead of us.
Yeah.
Now there is a lioness, an adult lioness, an elderly lioness with cubs in the reeds right on the coast.
Mm-hmm.
What I suggest is maybe to go to just about there, maybe with a vehicle.
In the vehicle?
Yeah, just ride. Otherwise, we can ride both sides of you. But with this fog, we won't see where she is, and she might be close. So it's a bit risky with that.
So this bit here is probably okay, but then it's
but the thing is, the moment you're out there, then you will be in view of her, depending on where she's lying.
Right.
I recommend, if it's not a big hassle for you, just to go by car for the next 2 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think you're the expert, and even though I want to do it, I'm listening to you. So
what we can do is if I can establish if she's on the right-hand side of the road, then we just have one vehicle ride and block you, and you just ride
like we
next
did
to
yesterday.
Yeah.
Do you want to go ahead, have a look, and then come back?
Yeah. Let me do that.
Why don't you do that?
And then then
we'll
you
wait
hang out here, and then we establish that she's cool.
Yeah. I'm not allowed to go ahead or behind. We just, even if it's slow, so that we just completely, because sometimes before I would go back or forth a little bit, but if we just keep that formation really tight.
I think she's with the cubs in the reeds now, so
Time to go.
I think we should go.
All feelings of physical exhaustion vanish as Kate summons the courage to push through in the face of fear.
So Philip had located the lion, and she was very close to the road. And because at the moment with her cub, she's very protective, so she'd be hyper looking out for dangers. And then I've been basically riding just between the two vehicles. So hopefully she's none the wiser that actually I'm on a bicycle.
Kate is well aware that without the vehicle shielding her, she could look like a springbok on wheels to a hungry lion. But despite the protection, her heart is pounding and her limbs feel numb with fear. She keeps her eyes peeled for potential threats.
Hopefully I'm not going to be that food today. This was my thing when I was thinking, because you've got them tracked and some on radio collars, but if there's 130 or 150 of them, do you have them all? So I was thinking maybe there's some others.
Look, that is a chance, but that's essentially why I work on the ground so much. And radio collars is one thing, but tracks, physical signs on the ground is probably the method I use most.
Yeah.
And that was really key for me this morning to come along here, because if a lion were to have crossed anywhere here, you'll pick up the tracks. Yeah. And then from the tracks, I can often identify the individual, certainly the sex and the age and so on. So
from that point of view, we've got a really good handle on who's here.
All right.
Okay. All right, brilliant.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, great.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Have a good ride. You
Yeah.
should be safe, and it'll still be a very nice, beautiful.
If I let my mind sort of think of the worst possible thing that can happen, it's not going to help. I was just focusing on the task, looking around, being alert, and you've got to think, right, this is now, just got to face it, being strong, go forwards. I'm not a great mechanic. I can do the basics. So when something goes wrong, okay, and then I have to think about it and slowly work it out. Just take my time. Okay, so what's happened is, just as I was stopped, just this like twang, 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 Thomas has dismantled the brake. It was making a terrible sound, and so we've been looking inside and see the clamp that holds the brake pad in position is broken.
These things?
But it's quite amazing because that's only like a week and front brake's corroded. You can just see his brain ticking over. His brain works totally differently to mine.
This one is for the side. Exactly.
No, I'll probably in the end get it, but it might take me a few hours. And he sort of worked it out in about 20 minutes. I'd be happy with that.
Nice, quite.
It's amazing. Give you a big handshake. There you go. Here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then shake. Okay, cool.
Kate is forced to keep on the road that follows close to the beach because the land is owned by a diamond mining company.
Bye-bye.
Leaving the mining area behind, Kate speeds over the hard, packed salt roads. She makes quick time on her way to Swakopmund, the halfway point of the expedition. Sandwiched between the Namib Desert and the ocean, Swakopmund's German architecture is a legacy of colonial times. Founded in 1892, its harbour served as Namibia's main port.
A bit like a holiday resort here. It's a bit surreal having come from where we started. No roads, nothing, wild weather.
Before moving on, Kate ventures beyond the charm of Swakopmund's streets to explore the town's eastern fringe, an area few get to see.
We're taking a little diversion to go into what's called the DRC, which is kind of an informal settlement area.
20 years ago, Swakopmund saw an influx of people migrating to the city looking for work. Founded as a temporary solution for those waiting for subsidized housing, the DRC is now a slum, built mostly of garbage reclaimed from landfill sites.
Some of us doesn't have electricity. Some would stay for days without water. Some would stay for days without food. So it's quite difficult. Life here isn't easy. On my side, I've got 3 boys. One is called cancer. I don't work. I'm a single mom, but by His grace, I manage somehow.
It's only contract jobs you get here.
Yes, and probably not paying you very much.
Yeah, you get paid
Yeah.
for 2, 3 months or 1 year contract. So after 2 months, 3 months, what much you gonna gain? Your family, nothing. Yeah.
It's only for 3-4 months. After 3-4 months,
you have got no income again, then you have to struggle again from number one, looking for a job again. And if the one you go and get is again the same.
Yes.
So it's the whole problem what he's saying.
It's a whole cycle of
Yeah.
short-term jobs,
Short-term
small amount of
jobs,
money,
yeah.
then insecurity because you don't have the, you can't guarantee the income coming in.
No income.
Yeah.
This is my house. This man door. Yeah, this one is my house. Yeah. Every day the people are stealing.
Yeah. Stealing stuff from you?
Stealing, yeah. If I get the food, they steal.
Yeah. So if you want to cook, sometimes you use that plastic bag on top of the roof. You need to cut out some dustbins. You use some tires just to cook. And you know, it's poisonous. So that is just, sometimes we use boxes to cook. And not all of us has got pots. Sometimes we would use canes. Life here is really not easy.
No.
It isn't easy at all. He looks for his food in the dustbin.
Dustbin.
Yeah.
Attracting from the dustbins.
And that food is already poisoned. It's got poison. We hardly have water. We've got prepaid cards. If you don't recharge your card, you don't have water. There's no way you can tell your child you need to wash your hands to avoid some germs.
If you are staying in dirty place, habitation is number one now in DRC.
The kids would like come back from school, they would play here, and then they would like get a sweet, pick up, and then they would just eat it. So this is part of the problem.
Thank you so much for showing us everything. I really appreciate your time to come and tell me your stories as well, and tell me your situation, and allowing us to come and see how you live. I really hope things improve for you in one way or another. It's kind of overwhelming. It's kind of like depression. It's just sad, and it's like the government does do stuff, but they're in such a spiral that they can't see their way out of it.
Leaving the DRC behind with a heavy heart, Kate pushes southwards. She relishes a few miles of open tarmac road because she knows what lies ahead. This second phase of the journey always loomed as the toughest physical challenge. South of Walvis Bay, there are no tracks whatsoever for 320 miles, just a harsh, barren sea of sand. 35 miles to the south, Kate must cycle around Sandwich Harbour, a coastal wetland and conservation area that is internationally recognized for its diverse and abundant bird life. The team is joined by John, a regional specialist, to help Kate navigate this section of the journey.
Yeah, so you think I should try and go around the edge?
Yeah. Yeah.
So up over that steep bit and then it'll be better?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm going to be doing is try to get up that slope there, and then apparently I believe on the other side it might be a little better, so it's worth a try.
Pushing the bike over the sand ridge is not easy. The dunes roll on to the horizon. Spanning the next 300 miles is the Namib Sand Sea, a seemingly impenetrable barrier of shifting dunes. Being able to traverse it by bike is a great unknown. But there's only one way to find out if it's even possible.
And it comes right around and it continues all the way up there, and there's a spit going across most of the way to protect it, so it's very calm. Around the edges of the little bays, it's probably going to be pretty muddy. I should be able to find a better surface, I think.
The team decides that following the convoluted coastal route is not an option. As usual, Kate sets off before the team. She follows a pair of vehicle tracks over the dunes and into the mighty Namib Sand Sea. For over 50 million years, the high, windswept dunes have served as the Namib's fortress, keeping out all but the most resilient of explorers. This inhospitable environment destroys all that is weak and vulnerable. Only the best adapted survive.
So it's been an incredible morning so far, going along through the dunes, trying to get towards the beach, cutting off the big peninsula of Sandwich Harbour. I was asked to set off early and suggested that I follow some four-wheel drive tracks.
Kate has learned that in these hostile conditions, the unexpected is the norm.
All the vehicle tracks just blown away. So I lost the tracks.
As Kate struggles to navigate through the dunes, the team is looking for her, but she is nowhere to be seen. The wind has erased her tracks. Even the master trackers cannot find her. Anxiety sets in both for Kate and the team. It becomes apparent they cannot find each other. The scale and intensity of the desert are testing. Losing your team here is life-threatening.
We seem to have lost Kate. She tried to save some time by cycling over the dunes instead of around the cape. We saw her tracks a little earlier, but now they've disappeared into the dunes. There.
I thought I was cutting across an angle, essentially across the dunes, and to follow the vehicle tracks. Well, pretty quickly I lost the vehicle tracks. So I just kept thinking I saw some more tracks, so I kept following those. But anyway, and I thought they would catch me much sooner, because I'd done about 12 kilometers by the time I found them.
Reunited with the team, there is another immediate problem Kate has to deal with.
Problem is, so the rubber thing has come off. Sand is now getting into here, and that is slitting that.
It's torn there, is it? It's not fully on yet. That'll spin off actually. So we need to just... So if you push this and I'll turn this.
Okay.
It's a bit of a design fault in the early bikes that Steve made, and it's just, you've got this universal joint and it comes in at a certain angle with this shaft. That means that that rubber socket in the past is split straight away within the first day. Then sand is sort of flicking, little grains of sand flicking into the, and that's filled with grease in there. So the last thing I want is that.
It is a relief to get back to the ocean where navigation is simple. The incident has been a wake-up call for the crew. In an environment like this, mistakes can be costly. Exhausted by the scouring winds and burning rays, Kate pushes south. In September 1909, while delivering supplies to diamond miners at Conception Bay, the Edward Bolen ran aground on a sandbank several hundred meters offshore in heavy fog. Despite valiant attempts to lighten its load and tow the steamship off the sandbank, she was doomed. As the vessel erodes to dust, it is now only home to jackals. Today, the Edward Bolen lies about 500 meters from the beach. Its location is a stark reminder that Namibia's coastline is constantly changing. The afternoons are particularly tough. The sun beats down, the wind strengthens, and as the tide comes in, Kate is forced to cycle for hours on the soft, rippling sandbanks.
This way. Thank you. We've got a huge floodplain now that I'm cycling across. See, this is all wet, so some of the waves are coming right up now, right over the edge, and spilling out. Tide will cover all the way here, right up to the sand dunes. So we have to get around this bit this evening, otherwise we'll be swamped.
So we are afraid that if we come here, we might definitely get water. But then we cannot transverse through the pan.
No.
It's very, very deep. Quicksand there.
Yeah.
According to John, the distance is very far still from here to get to the end of the pan. So that's why I'm saying we are stuck. The only option was, if possible, to load the bike and drive to the end of the pan.
Come back to that exact spot.
You know, high tide is at 6:30 and it's already 6 o'clock now. Water is still doing fine, but what is when it's 6:30? Is it gonna be very worse than this? Does it change so much in 30 minutes? So what do you say?
So we can't camp here?
That depends on how wet you want to become.
We just don't know whether it'll come or not. But as long as we get the main stuff up, like our tents in the morning, then we could probably do it.
Okay.
What do you think?
Let's give it a try.
There's no point driving 30 k's up and back, and I'm not going to miss 30 kilometres in a continuous line. I'll have to stand up for that. This afternoon was really tough. The team disappeared for about 2 hours. I didn't know where they were. Very unusual, starting to get very worried. And I didn't have any food left. And I had basically no water by the time we reunited. I'd cycled for at least, 2 hours in the red zone. I was exhausted. And so when Ilago sort of explained that we couldn't camp actually where we are now, I was, firstly I was really fearful because I thought, actually, I don't want to break the line of my journey. I'm sure I've made the right decision. Time for some sleep.
It's 7 a.m. and the sun is rising over the Skeleton Coast. Fortunately, the high tide did not send waves surging through the camp as the team feared it might. Kate's decision to camp here turned out to be the right one.
Quite incredible. There's bones everywhere. No wonder it's called the Skeleton Coast. A lot of whale bones. I guess they're the ones that last the longest. But whales migrate up and down the coast here. They sort of get a lot of good food in the cold ocean current. So the strong current pushes them ashore. They get beached. And there's no help out here for the whales either. Sometime this afternoon, a new guide, Simon's going to be joining us, and Simon's an absolute specialist in the area that we're about to head, where I'm probably going to have to go through the sand dunes. Certainly the vehicles can't go through along the beach, and so we have to wait for Simon and get his advice about the route. Well, it's been a long day. Almost 55 k's and just about here. I wasn't expecting that there was a camping place. Anyway, there's no one else there but us, so I might even have a hot shower.
Before heading into the big sand dunes, Kate needs to fix the weak link in her bike, the torn rubber seal on the universal joint.
And a tiny bit of sand's already got in. There's nothing we can do about it. The idea, right? We'll trim this later, but that has got to fit tight around there without scratching the paint off. So I'm trying to think if we can open it maybe a little more without breaking it. See? Just watch the cable.
Cable tail.
But it mustn't touch this.
So
maybe cut here?
Here.
Not too much because no sand.
Okay,
so a little bit first, so we go more if we need.
Okay.
Yeah, just a little. Well, let's check it and see how it spins.
Right.
Okay, that's good.
Yes, good.
That's very good. That's as good as we got to get, I think.
Heading down the Skeleton Coast, Kate soon reaches the formidable Longavand, a 60-mile wall of sand where the high desert dunes drop sheer to the Atlantic. Cycling amidst this astonishing natural landscape has its own challenges.
We've had to wait for the tide to start going out this morning before we could start. Because you couldn't drive through here otherwise.
With the incoming tide, it is no longer possible to continue along the coast. Kate is forced to turn into the desert and needs the help of the region's experts to navigate through the dunes.
Yeah, I don't know. What were you thinking?
So like now I'm thinking of bombing through there, a little valley there.
Right.
With the line of the transverse dunes.
Where? It's kind of all over the place.
Yeah. So the general.
So we're there, obviously.
Yeah, the general run is like this. So we can look into like this valley, and then you'll see here it starts widening up. It's like this crazy stuff. It's bigger, flatter areas. The further inland you go, the wider the valleys become. And then instead of running east-west, and they start running north-south.
The consequences of Kate losing the team here would be very serious. Kate may be motivated, but struggling through the high sand dunes is wearing her down. Accumulated fatigue is pushing Kate to her limit.
The whole thing just requires so much power. So yeah, sure, I can push up one sand dune, I can push up another, but to do that all day long is just really hard. This is the biggest challenge probably of the whole journey.
Kate is spent, but the Namib doesn't let her have anything easy. Every pedal stroke is energy sapping.
I say progressively, my body, my legs especially, a little bit more and more tired each morning. So, and this is a war of attrition as well. It's all about energy management. I mean, the temptation of these kind of surfaces is that I'm going to push and push and get exhausted very, very fast. I think it comes through a lot of experience of knowing how hard to push. I always try and keep it in a pretty light gear so that I have enough energy for when it gets soft to push through. So a lot of the skill all the time, I'm looking to find the easiest path. So could be that I've seen the vehicle tracks going through a soft bit and try and avoid that. I'm never bored because I'm constantly all day looking for that firmer piece of sand, looking for the more direct route. The fun bit is going down. Oh man, not quite. At lunchtime, we were about 110 kilometers as the crow flies to Lüderitz. So we're getting there. I can see that we're really progressing well, so that really inspires me and motivates me to keep getting there.
At last, Kate and the team are able to return to the coast. But it's not long before they find themselves facing a series of new challenges. The team has to negotiate obstacle after obstacle. Repeatedly forced to clear a path for the vehicles, they must battle every inch of the way. There is no time to lose. When the tide comes in, if they are not clear of the beach, they will be swamped. In this remote and treacherous region, just like the shipwrecks of the Skeleton Coast, broken down vehicles are doomed, never to be recovered.
What's here now? So any time now, it's going to be good for us to cross this section.
And how far is that section?
It's just this little bay.
Oh, little bay?
Yeah, this little bay up ahead here.
So, and that bay is not very long?
No, but that's the only treacherous
bit. So we just need to get across that today?
We need to get across that today. Then there's just a small section of dunes. You could probably go around. I don't think we can go around. There's a bit of rocks, but you'll probably be able to carry your bike over there quite easily.
All right then, bye.
As the team decides to go over the bay, Kate is taking a route around it which has its own risks. It is a race against the tide. Even desert experts struggle to cross the Namib with a 4x4, let alone Kate on a bike. On more than one occasion, it is touch and go as to whether they will make it. Kate continues to haul her bike over the rocks as the team pushes on through the unforgiving desert dunes. The wild desert coastline is relentless. Being constantly sandblasted day after day is grinding down Kate's resolve.
Kate, there's a camp spot that we use. It's about 5 k's away from here. Is that good?
Perfect. Yeah.
5 k's, and then it's about a k in just over a dune ridge, and then we're down.
That'll do us. Sounds good.
Okay.
You know, yep.
Okay, good.
I'm going set up.
Down to her last drop of energy, Kate's spirit is lifted with the town of Lüderitz now on the horizon. Just 11 days after leaving Swakopmund, Kate has finally made it to Lüderitz. Having cycled nearly 400 miles across some of the most physically demanding terrain on Earth. In 1883, Lüderitz became the first German settlement in southwest Africa when a Hamburg merchant, Adolf Lüderitz, persuaded the German government to place the territory under German protection. In 1909, following the discovery of diamonds nearby, Lüderitz enjoyed a sudden surge in prosperity. Today, its rock-strewn harbor serves as the center of its fishing industry. With the toughest part of the journey behind her, Kate is looking forward to a well-earned rest, and Lüderitz is the perfect place to recuperate. Ten miles east of Lüderitz lies Kolmanskop ghost town. In 1908, during construction of the railway, diamonds were discovered here. Immediately, a 170-mile zone to the south of Lüderitz was annexed by the German Empire for its own exploitation, and German miners rushed to settle here. Driven by the enormous wealth of the first diamond miners, the residents built the settlement in the architectural style of a German town. The town started to decline during World War II as the diamond field slowly depleted, and ultimately it was abandoned in 1956. Once a town so affluent it could afford to hire opera singers from Germany. Today, Kolmanskop is slowly being reclaimed by the surrounding desert. For 110 years, the area south of Kolmanskop has been locked to outsiders. No one has been allowed to enter unless they are strictly working for the diamond mining company. It has taken Kate many months of negotiation to gain access to the Spurgebiet forbidden area.
So Bergenfels is a huge natural arch that juts out over the sea. I think it's about 45 metres tall. I've been really looking forward to actually seeing this incredible landmark. I've just seen photographs of it, but going and seeing the real thing, there's no substitute for that.
It has taken the forces of nature millions of years to carve the exquisite Bergenfels arch out of the Dolomite rock. With the entire area closed to the public, Kate can now count herself as one of the lucky few who have witnessed this natural marvel.
You know, this has been an amazing expedition. There's been so much, day after day after day, pushing towards the finish line, and that should be tomorrow.
Most species found in the Spurgebiet are endemic, making it one of the world's top 25 biodiversity hotspots. Strict security measures have meant the entire region has remained virtually untouched by humans for over a century. Plants and animals have adapted and thrived in this pristine ecosystem. Nestled between the golden dunes of the Namib Desert and the Orange River lies an oasis. The mysterious town of Oranjemund is a sight for Kate's sore eyes.
Namib phoned and said, for them, my journey ends at the gate. Brilliant. All right, well, we better go through the gate. But for me, the real journey ends at the mouth of the Orange River.
Built solely to service diamond mining, for 85 years Oranjemund was closed to outsiders. Tight restrictions kept visitors at bay, and anyone with a criminal record was not allowed in the town. It is not only Kate who seeks the green sanctuary of Oranjemund streets. Wild oryx freely roam the town, preferring to coexist with the accepting locals. Open to the public since 2017, Oranjemund's immaculate streets are a testament to a proud community, eager to welcome visitors and shine a light on what is Namibia's best-kept secret. Now that mining operations are scaling down, the citizens of Oranjemund are free to leave. But they are choosing to stay and enjoy the region's wonders, to diversify and to write an exciting new chapter in the town's history.
So on the trip we've been seeing oryx out in the wilderness, and they're always so skittish and frightened of us running away in the horizon. But look here. In Oranjemund they just live in the streets.
Having the finish line in sight is a relief and allows Kate to soak up the spirit of this fascinating town and its rich history. Over the final 9 miles, Kate pedals towards the setting sun, savoring every last moment of this magical journey to the mouth of the Orange River. Exhausted but elated, Kate has at last reached her final destination. It has been an unforgettable journey through a truly extraordinary land.
Every journey becomes a little bit part of me, and it becomes a part of who I am. And learn from those things and grow from them. There were some really tough times when everything was against me. Everything was against. It was the wind, it was the sand, it was the tide, it was those enormous sand dunes. But actually, just by sticking at it, even if it seems hopeless at the time, just by moving through, we've pulled it off. So that's pretty cool.